Experienced seamen know better than anyone else that there is no substitute for experience at sea. And they know that in wartime, the merchant marine needs thousands of extra men to man the new Liberty ships. This is an emergency. The merchant marine is desperately in need of experienced men, especially licensed engineers and deck officers. If our merchant marine is to continue the fine job it has been doing, there must be thousands more experienced men to sail the ships. Apprentice seamen are doing their best, but they can't do the job alone. They must have your sea experience to lead the way. Now, if you're a licensed officer or have your certificate as an AB or fireman, oiler, or water tender, sign on today. This is a job which you and you alone can fill. You and you alone know how to do it. Wire collect to Merchant Marine, Washington, D.C. Give your rating and address. Go back to sea and help get those supplies to our fighting men.
For radiantly attractive hair, folks everywhere recommend Prell. Yes, Prell, Procter & Gamble's Radiant Cream Shampoo in the handy tube has caught on like mad. And here's why.
At last I found something to make my hair radiantly soft and natural. Prell shampoo brings out all its hidden beauty and makes it so easy to set.
Prell's wonderful. Gets a fellow's scalp clean, removes embarrassing dandruff, and makes a man's hair look as clean as it should.
Once you use Prell, you'll never want to be without it again. First, because Prell leaves hair more radiant than any soap shampoo. Leaves it soft and smooth, free of dulling soap film. Second, Prell removes ugly dandruff in as little as 3 minutes. Doctors' examinations proved it. And Prell goes farther than any known shampoo, cream, or liquid, because it's concentrated for economy. For that radiant, well-groomed look, wash your hair with Prell.
P-R-E-L-L, Prell shampoo.
The Cavalcade of America, sponsored by DuPont, maker of better things for better living through chemistry, presents Dean Jagger in 9 Men Against the Arctic. Before we begin our show, here's news of an invention from a DuPont research laboratory. DuPont paint technicians have developed a new instrument called a profilograph, so delicate that it will draw the outline of a film of paint only 1/50th the thickness of a dime. By pointing out the lows and highs in a film of paint, the profilograph helps DuPont paint laboratories to supply better finishes to the Army and the Navy. Tonight, the Cavalcade of America presents Dean Jagger in an authentic documentary story as starkly dramatic as the courage of the men who enacted it in real life. You will hear from one of these men, Lieutenant W.F. O'Hara, at the end of our play. Our scene is the great ice cap of Greenland, a wilderness of ice as far as the eye can see. Our radio play was written by Paul Peters, and in the role of Captain Armand L. Monteverde, it stars Dean Jagger.
Over the ice cap of Greenland zoomed an American B-17 Flying Fortress, searching for an Army transport plane long overdue. It circled the ice cap in vain and started down the eastern coast. As the weather closed in, Captain Armand L. Monteverde anxiously turned to his co-pilot, Lieutenant Harry E. Spencer.
You know, Spence, I don't like this place.
Sure is a long way from Texas.
You can't see anything. All this whiteness everywhere. No horizon. How high are we, anyhow?
Well, I reckon we're plenty high, but can't be sure. Like flying through milk.
Yeah, it is. I don't like it. What exploded?
Sounds like a supercharger to me.
You know what I think, Spence? I think we're... Spence. Spence, are you hurt?
Let me feel my legs first.
Well, how could we crash, Spence? We had altitude, didn't we?
Just thought we had.
Well, what about the crew? Come on back to the bomb bay. Great Scott, look at that fuselage.
Well, it's busted smack in half.
O'Hara. Lieutenant O'Hara, are you all right?
Yes, I think so, but everything back here is smashed to pieces.
Call her roll, Spence.
Chicharoni.
Yeah,
Sir, how you hurt?
I'm just kind of bumped up, sir.
Howarth.
Arm's lame, sir.
Broken?
No, sir. Just Charlie horse, I guess.
Waddell.
Feels like I got a shiner on my left eye, sir. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. Best? I think I cut my head a bit, sir.
Take a look at him, O'Hara.
Spurrier.
There's the fiddle.
Spina. Where's Spina?
There he is. But he's knocked out cold.
What?
Well, he's alive, though.
Looks like his arm's broken.
Get a blanket for him. How you feeling, Spina?
My hands. My hands. Ow!
Here, let me see that arm. Does this hurt?
A little.
Don't say a little. If it hurts, holler.
It hurts.
It's a multiple fracture above the wrist.
Let me rig up a splint for him.
Yeah, all right, Spence, thanks. Best.
Yeah.
Hang up a tarpaulin to keep out the wind.
Yes,
Howarth, collect the rations.
Yes.
Now, look, fellas. Now, being stranded on an ice cap in a 40-below blizzard is as new to me as it is to you. So look, we'll just have to get together and work out our problems that way.
Well, can't we communicate with our base?
Radio smashed. Howarth and I'll start tinkering on it in the morning. How long you think we'll be out here, sir?
Well, we can't be more than 25 or 30 miles from a weather station. I'd say 2 or 3 days, 5 at the most.
Boy, when I get back to Waco, I'm going to strip my backyard and just soak up that good Texas sun.
You Texans, in California, you don't have to go in the backyard for sun.
I think we ought to turn in, Captain. We can keep pretty warm if we wrap up in parachutes and huddle together.
Yeah, O'Hara is right, man. It's 3 o'clock now, and the sun is going down. All right, find yourself a roost and perch. Shut-eye, everybody.
All right.
And tomorrow we'll look the joint over. Saying, if you've got to get up at night, don't step on the bodies.
For 3 days, the Willowaw wind held them locked like a jailer in that frozen plain. Snow blew into their shelter and sifted into the seams of their clothing. Damp and cold, they waited the Arctic to relax its grip. But the 4th day dawned bright and clear.
Well, it's pretty all right.
Yeah, like living in a box of rock candy.
Time I get out of here, I reckon I'll have seen enough snow to last me the rest of my life.
Well, let's take a walk around and see what we can see.
Take you up on that. Be back soon, Monty.
All right, don't go far now. All right, outside, man. Everybody outside. The wind's gone down. Hunt around in the snow and collect all the supplies.
Oh, it sure takes you wind.
Yeah, and my feet are numb. Like walking on stilts.
Yep. Where you from, O'Hara?
Pennsylvania. Scranton.
Married?
No, just got out of college. You?
Yes, sir. 3 months. Name's Patsy. Cute as a bug. Little, but oh, my. Mrs. Lieutenant Harry E. Spencer. That's what the mailman calls her. Mail for Mrs. Lieutenant Harry E.
Oh! Hey, Monty! Monty, come here, quick!
What's the matter?
Well, Spence, he just disappeared. A hole opened and he disappeared.
Hold everything. I'll be right there.
Spence! Hey, Spence, are you down there?
Yeah. I fell with the mask. Can you see me?
Well, how far down are you?
About 100 feet. Over here. On his ledge.
Oh, okay, I see you. Hey, take it easy. That ledge doesn't look too solid.
Don't you worry. I ain't breathing.
How far is it to the bottom?
Bottom? Ain't no bottom. It's a big black hole down the center of the earth. Hurry up and get me out of here.
All right, Spence, just keep quiet. Here comes Monty and the crew with a pile of rope.
All right, I got 100 feet of parachute shroud lines. How far down is he?
Well, that ought to make it. Here, Best, you're from Texas. Make a sling harness.
Give here.
You'll have to watch these ice crevasses. They're covered with snow. You step on them and bang, down you go like falling down an elevator shaft.
Try this. I know it's good for steers.
All right, Spence. Slip this harness on. Here it comes. You see it?
Keep on coming.
Will it reach?
A swing, Lou. Oh.
You got it?
Man, I drove right out of it. Okay. Hoist away.
All right, take it easy now, man. All right. Pull. 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 I'd hold it a minute. You all right, Spence?
Well, rope is slicing hamburger off my rib, but just keep on pulling.
All right, man. Once more. Pull. 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 Pull.
Oh, boy. Don't let me down now.
We won't let you down, Spence. Here, can you reach my hand?
Yeah. I got it.
All right. Now, up.
Good boy, Spence. Good boy.
You hurt anywhere, Spence?
How'd it feel, Lieutenant? Feel? Like falling in a cube compartment. Great big refrigerator. Yowie! Next time I go underground, I want it to be deep in the heart of Texas. Yeah.
$5 days, 6 days, 8 days, 10 days. With tireless patience, they thawed out their radio, patched it up, and sent their anxious voices ringing over the frozen air to the nearest weather station. Back came the reassuring answer.
Cheer up, men. We're sending sleds and dog teams to save you. We'll have you here in no time.
Out of a bomb site, they built a stove to thaw their rations. With wires, they secured the tail of their plane to the forward part. When they discovered their shelter slipping into a crevasse that yawned at their very door. O'Hara's feet were now frozen, and he had to be put to bed beside the injured Spina. Filled with hope, beset by problems, they fought the elements. And then came Thanksgiving.
Another helping of that turkey, please.
You will have a half a ration K and like it.
Would you consider me a hog if I asked for just a little bit more of that chestnut dressing?
Oh, Lieutenant, cut it out.
What's the matter, Waco? Your stomach weak? When I think of the way Patsy used to cook those...
Excuse me, Lieutenant. I keep hearing a motor. Go on, Howard. That's just the electric fan in the parlor.
You mean the oil furnace in the basement, don't you?
But don't it, I do hear a motor.
Yeah.
It's an airplane. Listen, I tell you. Hey! See? I told you so.
Outside, everybody! Come on, let's... Hey, look out with that. You're stepping on the Hara. Hey, Tucciarone, take your mittens. You want to freeze your hand?
It's a C-54.
Boy, oh boy, ain't that pretty.
Look, he's wagging his wings at us.
Yeah. I think he's dropping something.
It's fallen on the other side of the crevasse.
Inside. Oh, let's get that radio going. Wait, I'll go with you.
C-54. C-54, come in. Come in, C-54. C-54.
This is C-54. This is C-54. E-17 on the ice cap. Do you hear me?
We hear you, C-54. Go ahead.
This is Colonel Bernd Borchen speaking. Is Captain Monteverdi there?
It's Bernd Borchen, Arctic Explorer. Here's a mic.
Thanks. This is Captain Monteverdi. Let's be careful, Colonel. We're surrounded on all sides by deep crevasses.
Can't land anyhow. Wind's too high. I've dropped rations, Arctic clothes, and a primus stove. Can you reach them?
No, they fell on the other side of the vasses.
All right. I'll circle back and drop some more.
Well, fly low, Colonel. You'll have to do precision bombing.
Right. I'll come down to 200 feet. How are your two injured men?
Well, Spina's wrist is healing, but O'Hara...
Tell him I'm all right.
I'm afraid O'Hara's feet frozen. We've got to get him out of here.
We have your precise location now. The dog teams couldn't make it, but we are sending out a motored sled. And there's a Coast Guard cutter headed for the nearest shore with a Grumman amphibian aboard. We'll get there. got to be patient.
That's all we've got, Colonel. Patience. But don't make it too long, please.
Right. I'm signing off now. Fog rolling in. So long. Good luck.
They fished round in the snow for those precious rations. Canned chicken, sausage, soup, and a carton of candy bars. The tea and sugar were scrambled, but they strained them apart with mosquito netting from a jungle kit. American ingenuity found use for even a jungle kit in the Arctic. November 29th, a hopeful day. By sled, by boat, by plane. Rescuers approaching.
Try again. We've got to reach them, Howarth. We've got to.
B-17 calling Grumman amphibian. B-17 calling Grumman amphibian. Come in, please. Grumman, come in.
This is Lieutenant John A. Pritchard on the Grumman amphibian from Coast Guard Cutter Clinton. Can we come down, B-17? B-17, can we come down?
Captain, he wants to know if he can come down.
Tell him no.
Don't land, Lieutenant. Ice crevasses all around.
How about further up? Safe there?
No.
You can't come down, Lieutenant.
Not even using plain floats for skis?
No.
Captain Monteverde says no, Lieutenant. He's going away, sir.
Yes. He's going away.
You are listening to The Cavalcade of America, sponsored by DuPont, presenting Dean Jagger as Captain Monteverde of the United States Army Air Corps in 9 Men Against the Arctic. As our play continues, 9 Army flyers marooned on the Greenland ice cap where their plane crashed have just watched a rescue plane turn back after Captain Monteverde advised them that a landing would be sheer suicide.
But 1 hour later...
Huh? Hey, did you hear that? Say, they're outside. Somebody's calling.
They're here.
Boy, is this going to be a welcome. Come on.
Hey!
Yes, I'm Monteverde.
I'm Lieutenant Pritchard from the Grumman amphibian. I came down a mile away. Took an hour to walk it.
You shouldn't have landed, Lieutenant. You may not be able to take off again.
I'll have to move fast before the floats freeze in. 2 are all I can carry, Captain.
You... Only 2.
I'll be back again. Besides, a couple of motor sleds are coming over the ice cap for you. They ought to be here by midnight. Well, are you ready, Captain?
No, not me, Lieutenant. I want to get my sick men out.
Can they walk it in this wind? We'll have to test for crevasses every inch of the way.
Yes, I guess you're right. Tusharoni,
Yes, sir.
you feel strong enough to walk that mile?
Captain, I never felt stronger in my life.
All right, Priere, how about you?
Captain, I'm a born walker.
All right, Lieutenant. There you are. They're your men. You better get going.
Bye, Captain. I'll be back soon.
Hey, Tucciaroni. Yeah? Send a wire to my folks in La Crosse.
Don't forget, Perrier. Mrs. Lieutenant Harry E. Spencer in Dallas.
November 30th. Pritchard came back in the Grumman, but Monteverde saw a fog rolling in and sent Howarth, the farm boy, to warn him to take off at once. Howarth was to fly back with Pritchard. They wagged their wings merrily as they soared over the camp and crashed to instant death 5 minutes later. Now only the sleds remained, but they did arrive. At 1 a.m., manned by Lieutenant Demarest of the weather station and Staff Sergeant Don Tetley. Next morning...
O'Hara and Spinner ready to go?
Yeah, I got them bundled up like papooses.
Spence.
Hmm?
Spence, do you see something?
No, Hey, there's only one sled now.
Hey! Step on it! Quick! Everybody, step on it. Waddell, bring some rope.
Tetley, what's happened? Where's Demarest?
Gone, huh? Just like that, it disappeared. Sled, no.
Hang on to me. I'll look over there.
Look out, Monty. You go in.
Hang on to my legs.
You see anything, Captain?
Just the tail end of the tow sled.
How far down?
It's about 200 feet.
We'll never get him out.
Demarest! Demarest! Can you answer, Demarest?
He's gone. Just a minute ago,
Be quiet. Demarest! It's no use.
No, let me down the rope, sir.
No. We've been out here 3 weeks, man. We haven't the strength.
Well, can't we do something, sir? A rope ladder, maybe.
Well, we get enough rope.
Well, we can't just leave him there. He gave up a good job to come out here. He knew Greenland. He loved it. Now Greenland's taken his life.
Come on, boy. Come back to camp.
Storms and blizzards. Not even Pappy Turner, the veteran Greenland pilot who dropped them rations, could fly. Food ran low. O'Hara, sickened with gangrene feet, began to waste away. Still the blizzard hemmed them in. Silently, each by himself, they fought despair. December. January 7th. At last, a still, clear day. With O'Hara snug in a sleeping bag on the sled, Spencer, Tetley, and Waddell were trudging behind, taking him out to safety.
You know, I've been thinking, this war's over. I'm going to buy me a farm.
Farm's nice if you like it, Waddell.
Yeah, I like it. Wife's going to have a baby sometime this month. Yeah, he'll like it, too.
Yeah. Warm enough, O'Hara?
Warm? Yeah, I'm warm.
How far did you say we've gone?
A mile, maybe.
Hey! Waddell, look out. That sled.
I can't hold it. I'm slipping. I can't.
Tetley, quick. Gun the sled ahead. There. I think the sled's safe here. Let's go back and look for him.
See anything?
Not a chance. Pritchard, Howard, and Demarest, now Waddell. Greenland. She's eating us up one by one.
Wife's going to have a baby sometime this month. Going to buy a farm when he gets back.
Yeah. O'Hara's fast asleep.
Hey, what's this brown stuff on the snow?
Looks like oil to me.
What do you know about that? Feed lines have busted.
Well, can't we fix it?
I doubt it. Ask me, this sled's finished.
Well, what do we do now?
Dig in, make a snow house. Wait.
Wait. That's all we do, wait.
How much can a human being endure? January passed in an agony of blizzards. February in wind drifts and nights of ruthless cold. March, spring equinox, and the days going out. O'Hara delirious. Monteverde's suffering from frostbite. Spina's arm healed, but he was weak and helpless. How much suffering can that bundle of muscle, nerve, and brain we call a man endure? April 5th. A Catalina flying boat dropped out of the sky. Her wheels retracted. Her wing floats lowered.
Captain Monteverde? Colonel Balchin.
Took us a long time, Captain, but we got here.
Well, that's the main thing, Colonel. You got here.
We want you and your men to drop everything now, Captain. We'll tuck you in and take care of you.
I guess we won't object to that, Colonel. We're just so darn tired of fighting.
Thank you, Dean Jagger. A little later, our star will return to introduce Lieutenant O'Hara, one of the real-life heroes of tonight's dramatization. Meanwhile, we want to tell you how chemical rubber is helping to defend American cities and war industry centers from hostile aircraft attack. For the first time, barrage balloons now float in the sky over vital points in American cities. They call them rubber cows, and they do look a bit like cows, but they aren't made of natural rubber. And in that fact, there's a story we think will interest you. 2 years ago, the task of training men to handle barrage balloons was handed to the Coast Artillery. A training center was established, balloons were tested, and specifications given to manufacturers. When the Army was reorganized in March a year ago, the anti-aircraft troops were given the barrage balloons as one of their anti-aircraft weapons. That's what they are, a defensive weapon. Their cables...
When cold is weather's getting down, just call on quinine. Relief in practice all around, so call on quinine. Famous now for years and years.
Forget those seas and sniffle fears.
When cold is getting down, just call on quinine.
Inimitably effective.
Ladies, when you want your hair to look its radiant best for an important date, just do this the night before. Give your hair a 10-minute glamour bath with Kreml shampoo.
I certainly agree with that, Mr. Bell. And you know, Kreml shampoo is the same shampoo used by those famous beauties, the Powers models.
Kreml shampoo has been especially developed to glamour bathe each tiny strand of hair so that it fairly radiates natural, dazzling highlights. It leaves the hair simply gleaming with natural, glossy luster. And what's more, your hair stays that way for days.
And please bear in mind that Kreml shampoo is not a soapless shampoo. It's not a cream shampoo. It's not a drying detergent. Not a harsh soap. It's entirely different.
Yes, Kreml shampoo uncovers all the natural highlights that lie concealed in every woman's hair. Yet it never dries the hair. In fact, Kreml shampoo has a built-in oil base which helps keep the hair from becoming dry or brittle. It removes dandruff flakes the first time you use it.
Kreml shampoo whips up a luxuriant, active foam, even in the hardest water. It rinses out so easily and never leaves any dull, soapy film.
So, ladies, why not buy a bottle of Kreml shampoo at any drug counter and glamour bathe your hair to a vision of shining beauty, like the lovely $1 Million Powers models. Kreml, Kreml shampoo.
Mystery Theater. Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Have you ever known terror? Have you ever come up against something that so threatened you, so horrified you, that it stopped your heart for a moment? If you never have, count yourself lucky. But don't count on your luck too much. After all, who's to say that terror may never touch you, huh? Consider Helen and Jim Crane. They never thought it would ever touch them.
Blood. Jim, there's blood all over. And the axe. Did you see the axe?
Come on, let's get out of here.
The blizzard. We can't
stay here either. There must have been a terrible fight in that kitchen, and I'm not waiting for the winner to come back.
You don't suppose...
What?
The murderer? The murderer the police are looking for. The man who slaughtered the Grant family. They said he was holed up somewhere on the mountain. This cabin, maybe? You don't think...
All I think is that we'd better get out of here.
Our mystery drama, Blizzard of Terror, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by George Lothar and stars Lois Smith. Dare you join me now in a blizzard of terror? Not so fast, not so quick to answer yes. Are your nerves in shape for what lies ahead? Have you promised yourself a good night's sleep? A promise you want to keep? In simple brief, are you who now listen to my voice ready to cope with terror? Very well. You made the choice, not I. Come along, then. Well, come on.
That China will form no coalition with Russia in the foreseeable future. That's the world news. Now I have a special bulletin from the big Indian Sheriff's Office.
Jim, turn the radio
Sheriff
off.
Ed Ralston warns all motorists to stay off the roads on Thunder Mountain. Not only because of the blizzard, but also because the man sought for the brutal murder of the Grant family is believed to be hiding out somewhere on the mountain.
Please,
Shut
it off.
all of them with a kitchen carving knife. The Grant family...
Thank you, Mr. Crane.
You're welcome, Mrs. Crane.
We don't need to be told again and again that we're in a blizzard on Thunder Mountain. We know we are, thanks to you. I'm sorry.
It's okay, skip it. Maybe it is my fault.
Jim!
Wow, that was a close one. You know, I can't see the road. All I can see is snow.
What's that?
What's what?
There, just ahead. Back under the trees. A cabin.
So?
We better stop.
Oh, no way.
Jim.
We're just managing to make it up this grade now. If we stop, we'll never get started
If
again.
we keep going, we're sure to get stuck. Those snowdrifts out there are getting worse.
Yeah, I know,
We'd be safer in that cabin.
we could freeze to death.
Jim, please. For once, listen to reason.
Okay. You win. You always do.
Don't stop here. The cabin's over there.
If we drive in there, we will get stuck.
You really are going to have to get new glasses. Can't you see the road?
Oh, yeah. Tire tracks. Snowed over, but tracks.
Those tire tracks, they mean somebody's there. Yes! Look. Smoke's coming out of the chimney. Now, are you glad we turned in?
Swooning with delight.
You're angry because I was right.
When are you wrong? When are you ever wrong?
Oh, you are something. You are. You are really Why do we quarrel like this, fly at each other every time?
Well, maybe if you weren't so darned independent. Forget it. Okay, come on. All right, let's get inside. Fast. Hello? Anybody home? Hello?
Just open the door and go in.
Well, I don't like to just barge in.
Jim, under the circumstances. If you won't, I will. Hello? Anyone here? Hello?
There must be somebody here. There's a fire smoldering in the fireplace. Here, look, there's a pipe in its ashtray. The tray is full of pipe ashes.
Oh, here's a coffee cup, half full.
Uh-huh.
There's a book.
open on the table. Huh. Jung's psychology of the unconscious. Whoever owns this place must be a brain. Hello? Anyone here? Hello?
Helen, don't do that. You've got no right to go nosing around.
Bedroom. Nobody in it. Must be the kitchen. Behind that door.
Helen!
Yes.
Let's just sit down and just wait for whoever owns this place to come back, huh?
I just want...
You've got no right, Helen. Now, the owner of this place must be the kind of person who wouldn't like people nosing around.
Oh, now,
I'm telling
really?
you. Just look at it. This isn't just a cabin. It's a kind of lodge. Here, that wall lined with books. There, a hi-fi. Stacks of records, all classical. And those paintings on the walls. Helen, please.
I want a cup of coffee, and if this door leads to the kitchen...
She just won't listen. Just won't ever listen. Well, what are you standing there for? Now that you've opened the door, go on in.
Oh. Good Lord.
What is it?
Oh. Jim. Oh, Jim.
Helen, what is it?
The kitchen. Oh. The kitchen.
Here. Helen, here. You better sit down. You look like you're going to faint. Now, you just sit there. I'll have a look. Oh, no. Oh, Helen, come on now. We better get out of here.
My God. Oh, Jim. Blood all over. And the axe. Did you see the axe?
Yeah, it's the first thing I saw. Come on.
Blizzard. We can't
stay here. There must have been some hell of a fight in that kitchen, and I'm not waiting for the winner to come back.
Oh, you don't suppose...
What?
The murderer? The murderer they're looking for, that man who slaughtered the Grant family? They said he was holed up somewhere on the mountain.
Helen, I don't know, and we're not going to hang around to find out. Now, come on, let's get out of here. Hello.
Hello.
I'm Jim Crane. This is my wife, Helen. We got caught in a blizzard, and we saw your cabin, and we just came in.
We were over at Big Mountain for a skiing weekend, and we started back too late, thanks to my husband.
Oh? Yeah, I guess it was my fault. You see, I don't ski. My wife does, but I don't, and, I got into this poker game, and I was winning, and I couldn't quit when I was ahead. You know how it is?
You don't have to make any excuses to me, friend. Maybe to her, but not to me.
Well, I was just explaining.
Like ice in here. Better get that fire going again.
You needn't bother on our account.
I'm not.
Well, what I meant was we were just leaving.
Not in that blizzard, you're not, Mrs. Crane.
It's Miss Morgan, if you don't mind.
I thought you said she's your wife.
Well, she keeps her maiden name.
You kidding?
No,
You marry a doll and give her your name and she won't use it? What's the matter, excuse me, Ms. Morgan, you said, huh? What's the matter? Your husband's name isn't good enough for you?
It isn't that.
Then what is it?
I prefer to keep my own name, that's all. A lot of women do these days.
Yeah, they call it women's lib.
Women's what?
Lib. For liberation. You know, they keep their names, their independence, their jobs, everything.
Everything, eh? That's too bad. You were my wife, doll. You wouldn't keep your name or your job or, anything. What do you do besides letting her get away with all this?
Engineer. I'm an engineer.
You drive a train?
Oh, no, not that kind of engineer. Hydraulic engineer. Water power.
Oh. Cigarette?
No, thanks. I don't smoke.
You?
I don't smoke either. And I thought you...
Huh?
Nothing.
You thought I was?
Well, I noticed the pipe in the ashtray, so...
Oh, well, yes. I do smoke a pipe now and then. Cigarettes, too.
You haven't told us your name.
Jake.
Jake what?
Jake's enough. We need more wood. I'll get it.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah, we can't.
Well, we've got to. He doesn't own this place. He doesn't live here. And from the looks of him, oh, good Lord, what a bruiser. He could be the murderer the sheriff's looking for. The blood on his clothes. It's all over his parka.
Helen, we can't be sure it's blood.
What else could it be? And what about the cigarettes? There's not one cigarette in that ashtray. There's nothing but pipe ashes.
Yeah, that's true, all right.
And he's stupid. Totally uninformed. He couldn't be the man who reads these books, listens to that music. He never heard of women's lib. He thought you drove a train.
Helen, we can't leave. We could die out there.
We can die in here. And I have a feeling we will if we don't get...
That'll hold us for a while. And enough wood in the shed to keep us warm through the night. As though with a little lady like this to keep you warm, you wouldn't have to worry too much, would you? Well, don't look so upset, Jimmy boy, would you? I wouldn't. But then I'd see to that. Not a bad idea, come to think of it. How about a drink, sweetie? Or don't you do that either?
I could use a drink, yes.
You, Jim?
Thanks, yes. What do you do, Jake?
Right now, nothing.
Well, I mean when you do something.
Let's see, we got scotch, bourbon, vodka. What'll it be?
Helen?
Scotch.
Huh?
I said scotch.
No, please?
Excuse me, please.
Jimmy boy?
The same. Please.
One thing you gotta say for men. They got better manners than women. Well, come on. Pull up to the fire here. Let's all get, cozy. That okay with you, Helen?
It'll certainly be warmer by the fire.
That isn't what I said.
I know what you said.
What'd I say? Here you are.
Thank you.
Showing better manners. Good.
Thanks.
That's better. Easy chair, warm fire, drink. That's much better.
Nice place you've got here.
It's all right.
You must do a lot of reading, all those books.
I read some, yes.
I see you like classical music, too. Who are your favorites? Composers, I mean. Beethoven, maybe?
Yes, I like Beethoven.
Oh, me too. I'm especially fond of his 10th Symphony.
Oh, yes, I go for that, too. Well, I don't know about you two, but I'm getting hungry. Could use some supper. How about it?
Yeah, I could eat.
You, sweetie?
Oh, I suppose. Yes.
Good. But first, we'll have to clean up the kitchen. It's a real bloody mess out there, and I mean bloody.
What do you mean bloody?
Just said there's blood all over. All over me, too. See?
Oh, yes.
How, what happened?
I didn't want to kill him. I had to. I surprised him out there in the kitchen, and he came for me. There was an axe, and it was the handiest thing, and I used that. I sank it into his skull, deep. I couldn't help thinking of the Grant family.
The Grant?
Guess you haven't heard about that. Whole family down in the valley. Slaughtered. Blood all over. I got there in the kitchen. Well, we better get to it.
You mean me?
There's a lot to clean up. I can't do it by myself.
Jim will help you.
No. You will.
I'd rather not.
I didn't ask you whether you'd rather or wouldn't. I'm telling you. I'll give you 2 minutes to get out in this kitchen with me and get to work.
There is no Beethoven 10th. Oh, Jim, what have we got ourselves into?
Helen, better humor him. Go on now. You better go on out into that kitchen.
I'm scared. I just can't be in that kitchen, not alone with him. Oh, you saw the way he looks at me. The things he says.
Oh, don't worry. I'll protect you.
You?
Well, how about it, dollface? Are you coming?
Yes. Yes. I'm coming.
Helen and Jim feel the first stirrings of terror. much worse lies ahead for them. I'll be back shortly with Act 2. Suppose now that you, not Jim and Helen Crane, but you had sought shelter from the blizzard in that forsaken mountain cabin. You had met this strange and quite obviously murderous man who called himself Jake. Suppose you, not Helen, are helping him, against your will, to clean up the shambles in the kitchen. The bloody shambles.
Well, that's it, I guess.
The axe needs to be washed. There's blood all over it. Well, go on, wash it.
I can't touch it.
And not as liberated, wasn't that the word, as you thought?
I don't see what that's got to do with it.
I kind of got the impression you felt you could do anything a man could do. All right, I'll wash the axe. You start making supper. Well, what are you standing there for? Get busy.
I don't know where anything is.
Lots of can stuff in that closet, and there's a can over on the wall. Think you know how to use it?
I'll try.
Funky, aren't you?
Funky.
You know there was a killer in this kitchen this afternoon, and I was the one used this axe. You know that, but you got the nerve to stand up to me. Maybe too much nerve.
There's beans and spaghetti, stew, and that's about it. What do you want?
You decide. I figure you're good at deciding things. That's what's wrong between you and your hubby.
How do you know there's something wrong?
No sweat. 5 minutes with the two of you, and anybody could see you're too pushy. And him, he's too much the other way. Yep, like I said, you're too spunky. Somebody ought to take a little of it out of you.
Get your hands off me.
Oh, come on now.
Now let me go. Oh, stop it. Stop it.
Hey, what's going on there?
Oh.
What's going on? Well, you might say I was starting to do what you should do, Jimmy boy.
Well, don't try that again. You do.
And you won't do any more than you're doing right now.
Oh, no? Oh, no?
Oh, Jim, please. It's all right. No harm done. I'm not hurt or anything.
What's the big deal, Jimmy boy? Little kiss between friends. What's to get psyched up about? Come on, chum. Let's you and me have a friendly drink while Helen gets supper ready.
No, I don't want to.
Come on. You know how to use that can opener, sweetie?
I'll manage.
That's my girl. Scotch, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I see you tried to use a phone. Don't look so surprised. You put it back the wrong way around.
The phone's dead.
I could have told you that.
The wires are down, I guess.
No. I cut the wires.
You cut? I see.
Well, you drink, Jimmy boy. Cheers. Oh, and by the way, in case you've got any other ideas about getting help, those guns over the fireplace are loaded. And neither is that revolver on your mantel.
Jake.
Yeah?
I'll make a deal with you.
What gives you the idea that you're in any position to make a deal?
I'm not, but you've got aces back to back. I know that, but I'm still in the game, Jake.
You're a good poker player. You're bluffing, but I'd never be able to tell it in your face.
Are you going to listen?
All ears.
Let us go, Helen and me. Let us go, and we won't say a thing, not a thing, to anybody.
About what?
What? You know.
I don't know.
Look, I don't want to spell it out.
You got no choice. I hold aces back to back, like you said.
All right. My wife and I, we have a pretty good idea who you are. You know that, or I wouldn't be telling you.
Uh-huh.
So, what you're thinking, once these two leave here, they'll contact the sheriff and give them a lead on me. Well, all I want to say is, just give us a break, and we won't say a word to anybody.
Thanks. I appreciate that. And in return,
you just let us go.
Who's holding you?
Well, you know what I mean. We can't go now, not with that blizzard out there. I mean, tomorrow or the next day. Whenever the plow comes through and clears the road. I mean, I want you to let us live.
What for? Answer me that, Jimmy boy. What for?
Well, that's a crazy question.
Yeah? Let me tell you something. Tell me. You in love with your wife? You can't answer that, huh? She in love with you? Can't answer that either, huh? Can you? How long you been married? You can answer that.
3 years.
What happened, Jimmy? What happened between the time 3 years ago you two couldn't wait to get married, I'll bet, and now, when you can't wait to get divorced? You are thinking about divorce, aren't you?
Well, we don't get along, that's for sure, but...
For what? You're at each other's throats day in and day out, right? Nothing but fights, arguments, frustrations on both sides. From the minute you get up till you go to bed, right? Am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
And you want to live? For what?
Well, you keep hoping things will change.
They won't. Unless you make them change. And very few ever do. They keep hoping right into the grave, hoping. Like the Grants.
Why did you kill the Grants?
They killed themselves. They were dead long before they were put out of their misery. Like you and her. I'll make a deal with you, Jimmy.
I'm listening.
You give me a good reason why you should go on living. That's a deal.
We want to.
No. You just don't want to die. Now, that wasn't a bad meal, sweetie. You're real talented with a can opener.
Thank you.
Storm's getting worse. Yeah, we're really snowed in now. Drifts above the windowsills. Better build this fire up, and then I guess we'll hit the sack. Where do you want to sleep, sweetie? Come on now. You shouldn't have any trouble making up your mind.
Oh, I haven't. I'll sleep with my husband, as usual.
As usual?
What kind of a crack is that?
Now, cool it, Jimmy boy.
Well, I won't have my wife in front of it. I don't care how big you are, Jake, or how tough or cold-blooded. I won't have you in front of
Jim, now stop it. This is no time for gallantry. You're no match for him. He'd kill you.
Besides, you took me the wrong way. All I meant was... Well, come on now, be honest. How long has it been since you two did sleep together as husband and wife?
That's no business of yours.
Long time, huh? Well, the minute I laid eyes on you, the way you acted toward each other, looked at each other, the way you talked, anybody could see you hated each other.
We don't hate each other.
You love each other? You see, that's what I mean. You two. You don't hate, you don't love. You don't nothing. And you ask me, that's a nutty way to live. So how about it, sweetie?
How about what?
There's a nice big double bed in that bedroom, and it's going to be a cold night. And me, I sure appreciate it.
I warn you, Jake.
Oh, Jim. I'll sleep out here on the couch.
Come here, sweetie.
What? Oh.
Let old Jake see if he can change your mind.
Hey, now.
Get
what
your
is
hands off her. You dirty...
Jim!
Why, you little freak. Hit me, would you?
Oh.
I guess I'll hold you for a while, Jimmy boy. Now, you, dog.
Oh, no.
Come here.
You can kill me if you want to. You can torture me for hours, but I would never...
Suit yourself. Now I think about it. What would I want with you? Oh, when Jimmy boy comes to, tell him not to get any ideas in the night about escaping or overpowering me. He hasn't a chance.
Jim?
Oh, I'll be okay. He sure packs a mean wallop.
I shouldn't have even thought of standing up to him.
Some things a man will take and some things he won't. And manhandling his wife is one of them.
Jim, can we get out? Do you think? Would there be any way?
No. We're snowed in. Even if we could get to the car, we wouldn't be able to drive it afoot in those drifts.
What about telephoning for help?
Well, the phone's dead. He cut the wires.
Oh.
But don't you worry. Don't you worry, Helen. There's one thing he overlooked.
What?
That revolver on the mantelpiece. This.
It's loaded?
Not yet, but it's going to be. He made a big point about those guns over the mantel and this revolver having no bullets in them. I knew that without being told. Those guns were the first thing I went for when you two were in the kitchen.
But if they're unloaded...
Well, I nosed around. I couldn't find any ammunition for the guns on the wall, but I found these in that drawer.
Do they fit?
Looks as if they ought to. We'll find out.
They do. They fit.
Yeah, thank heavens.
What do we do now?
We'll wait till morning. But we're safe now, Helen. Safe.
Thanks to you, darling.
You know, you haven't called me Dad in I don't know when.
Jim, there's something I forgot to mention. I kind of figure you must have found the bullets for that revolver in the desk drawer. You did, didn't you?
What of it?
Don't bother loading that gun. It doesn't work. The trigger's broken. Nice.
Helpless once again, Jim and Helen can only stare at each other as fear touches them with icy fingers. I'll be back shortly with Act 3. Terror's icy fingers grip Helen and Jim Crane as they face all but certain death at the hands of Jake. Curious, though, isn't it? Even strange that their fear, shared in common, brings them closer to each other than ever before in the 3 years of their marriage. Strange. Curious.
Jim?
Oh. I didn't know you were awake.
I've hardly slept.
I'm sorry. I've done the best I could with this fire through the night to keep the room warm.
I know. I watched you get up out of that chair again and again. Thank you, Jim.
What?
You did it mostly for me. For my comfort. Thank you.
Nonsense. I need a little warmth, too, you know.
You don't get much, do you? From me.
Could be I don't rate much.
I think you do.
Why do you withhold it?
I only just found out.
Found out?
It wasn't the cold that kept me awake through the night. It was thinking about Jake and us.
Yeah, well, we'll manage a way out of this. I don't know how, but we will.
I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about something he said last night. He said, we don't hate each other, we don't love, we don't nothing. And then he said, you ask me, that's a nutty way to live. Well, it is, isn't it?
If what he said was true about us, but it isn't.
It is.
Not for me. I did a lot of thinking, too. I love you, Helen. I always have. It's just that...
Yes?
I don't know. It seems I can't reach you anymore. Something happened to us along the way, and I can't figure out what it is.
I think I can.
Tell me.
I don't know. I think maybe it's just the times we live in. I mean... Oh, well. Take women's lib.
I don't see anything wrong with women's lib. The fact is, I'm all for it if it doesn't go too far.
It did with me, I think.
Oh, I don't know.
I do. I wanted to be... I still want to be my own person. Myself. Me. The last thing I wanted was to be dependent on anyone, and I guess especially on you. But last night, Jim, I was scared. And when you fought for me, when you just went for him like a raging animal, Jim, and you did it For me. I know you wouldn't have done it for yourself, or maybe for anyone, but you did it for me. Oh, Jim, I needed you. I really did need you.
Well, maybe the truth is... The simple truth is that we need each other. I don't mean just you and me, but everybody. I mean, we're all in the same boat, aren't we? Same world. We are dependent on each other, so why do we fight it?
I'm not fighting it anymore. I made up my mind to that during the night. Jim, I love you. You are a wonderful husband, only I just never gave you the chance to be.
Oh, Helen, sweetheart.
Oh, I do love you. Oh, Jim, I do. Oh, I do.
Oh, dearest.
Well, look what's going on here. When did you two scrappers become lovebirds? Never mind. The fire needs building up. Get some wood, Jim. It's out back in the shed.
Okay.
So, you think you've fallen in love with your husband all over again, eh?
You were listening. You overheard.
Laughed myself sick.
I don't see anything funny about it.
You wouldn't. You believe it. So does he. Fact is, the two of you in the same boat, and no, you better row together or else.
Or else what?
You'll find out, sweetie.
What will you take to let us go?
Kind of putting the cart before the horse, aren't you? Go where?
The blizzard has stopped.
But those drifts out there must be 6 to 8 feet high.
They must plow that road. They have to keep it open. A plow is sure to come through, if not today, tomorrow.
Could be.
Well, then.
Well, then what?
Don't kill us. Let us go.
Why should I?
I'll give you anything you want. I'll do anything you want.
How do you know what I want? What makes you so sure you can supply it?
You've made that plain enough. Jake, I beg you, let us live. At least, let Jim live. And I'll do anything. Anything.
Oh,
Jim!
Oh, what happened?
Jim.
Oh, I was bringing an armful of wood, and I stepped on a log. Oh, twisted my ankle.
Here, let me give you a hand. Just lean on me. Now, take it easy.
Jim, dear.
Easy now, easy. There, sit right there.
Let me get that shoe off.
Let him get it off himself. He's no cripple. You get out in the kitchen and scare up some breakfast. You heard me.
Oh, the pain.
See if you can stand on it.
Stand?
Try it.
Oh, I can't. I'm helpless. Oh.
Yeah. Real helpless. Hey, you make a good cup of coffee, doll.
Thank you. I'll get another cold compress for your ankle, Jim.
He's all right.
I
said he's okay. Let him worry about his ankle. You and me have some unfinished business.
What is this? Helen, what is this?
It's the only way.
What only way? What are you talking about?
Jim, I made a deal with him.
A deal?
I said I'd do anything if he'd let us go.
Are you out of your mind?
He's going to kill us. Now, you know that.
Now, you're crazy. He'll get what he wants, and then he'll kill us.
No.
Yes.
No, because I'm going to kill him with his
kitchen knife.
All I want is to get close enough to him.
No, you can't do that. It isn't in you to do that.
It's got to be. There isn't any other way.
What's keeping you?
I'm coming.
And leave the knife, doll. These petitions are awful thin. You ought to know that by now. Put the knife down, I said.
Stay where you are, Helen.
She made a deal. And she's gone through with it.
Over my dead body.
No, you fool. Over your live body.
Over my live?
He said he'd spare you.
Spare me? He said us.
She lied. She made the bargain to save you.
Helen, you would...
I love you. I love you, Jim. I told you that. I love you.
And I love you, Helen, a lot too much to let you go through with anything like this.
What you figure you can do about it, huh? You can't even stand, not on that bad ankle you can't.
Oh, yes, I can.
Jimmy, boy, not you. Now, Dal.
No. I can't. I can't go through with it.
Oh, yes, you can.
Leave her alone. Leave her alone.
Oh, please, I can't.
Stop it, you hear me? Stop it.
Jim. You... How did you?
I don't know, Helen. I somehow grabbed the poker and made it across the floor and hit him with it. I don't know how I did it. Oh, I've got to sit down and get off this.
Oh, here. Oh, lean on me. All right, now. Easy.
Yeah, thanks. Better have a look at him, Helen, see if he's breathing. I may have killed him.
He's breathing. His head's bleeding where you hit him.
All right, get something to tie him up with. See if there's some rope around. And snap it up. He's coming through.
Oh, yes. It's the phone.
He said he cut the wires.
He couldn't have. It was a bluff. Hello? Sheriff? It's the sheriff and Big Indian. Who? Professor Moran. No. There is a man here. I'm afraid he's hurt. Me? My name's Helen Crane. My husband and I got caught in last night's blizzard, and we managed to get to this cabin. And we found... Well, there was blood all over the kitchen and an axe.
Helen, look out. Jake, it's all right. All right. The poker. Helen, the poker. Hit him again.
No, you've got it all wrong.
All wrong. Helen, hit him.
Give me that phone. Hello, Ed. Yes, it's Jake. No, it's okay. Everything's okay. No, I'm not worried at all. I knew you'd check as soon as they get the service back on. What? Oh, that. Bobcat. Yeah, Bobcat. Surprised him in the kitchen. Killed him with a wood axe. Handiest thing. Yeah, I guess so. Prowling for food, sure. Oh, well, a nice young couple. No, I'm very much alive. I'll explain when I see you. The plow. When? Good. No, we're okay. Plenty of wood, plenty of food. Thanks, Ed. So long.
You... Professor Moran?
Yes.
Why? I don't get it. We thought you were the killer they're looking for.
Yes, I know.
Why didn't you tell us who you were? Why didn't you explain about the blood in the kitchen?
Oh, more important, why did you act the way you did? You acted the part of the killer.
Yes. Why did I act the part? Well, you were guinea pigs, I'm afraid.
Guinea pigs?
Yes, I'm head of the Department of Psychology at City University. I sized you two up the minute I saw you. Your marriage was headed for the rocks, and like most couples, you didn't know it.
No, I guess we didn't.
Like any other young marrieds in this day and age, you'd lost contact with each other. We're going separate ways. Well, I set out to bring you back together, and as I said before, people in the same boat have to pull together. All I did was put you both in the same boat by making you face a common danger. A danger that never existed.
Well, I'm hanged.
You carried things pretty far, Professor Moran.
Too far, my dear. Much too far. You'll find aspirin in the medicine cabinet. Bring me a couple, would you? On second thought, bring the bottle.
And so terror turns to surprise and relief. Pretty shrewd fellow, Professor Moran, wouldn't you say? I mean, realizing that Jim and Helen were headed for divorce, that took keen insight into human nature. But then, he was, after all, a trained psychologist. I'll be back in just a moment. Marriage is two people in the same boat. A cliche, of course. But the very core of every cliche is truth. All is not gold that glitters. A stitch in time saves 9, and so on. I couldn't help thinking that all humanity is in the same boat. And what an infinitely better and happier world it would be if we all learned to pull together. Our cast included Lois Smith, Larry Haynes, and Leon Janney. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Aurora Toyota is still the fastest growing Toyota dealership in the greater Seattle area because they take the bite out of high prices.
This is a good time of the year to thank all of you at your station for your interest in presenting the Boris Karloff program. It's a real pleasure to work with you all, and I appreciate your cooperation very much indeed. May I also wish you and yours a most Merry Christmas and a prosperous and a happy New Year.
We toast them crisp, we toast them light, you can tell by the taste we toast them. They're a tasty treat, so good to eat, delicious and light from toasting. Toasties.
And you know what? We like 'em.
Good evening, this is J. Carroll Nash. What will happen if atomic energy gets out of hand? We are just beginning to understand what great blessings could come from its beneficial use. We already know its destructive power. The men who have studied atomic energy say that if some sort of control is not worked out among nations, it could devastate us. What you are about to hear is a story of what our country could be like after atomic war.
The Fifth Horseman.
4 horsemen rode across the land, and the names were War, Pestilence, Famine, Death. And to these now is added a 5th horseman, the threat of the atom.
The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations present The Fifth Horseman, written and produced by Arnold Marquis. Here is an account of the significance of atomic energy and the problem it poses to mankind. Starring J. Carroll Nash, this is the 7th in the series titled Aftermath.
Your name?
Stanchion.
Initials?
A.D.
Uh-huh. Where did you come from? Your home?
St. Louis.
And where were you at the time it happened?
I was just outside of Brookfield, Missouri. That was my territory.
Mm-hmm. Family in St. Louis?
Yes.
As I remember, St. Louis was hit by the first flight.
Yes.
I know this is painful for you to talk about, Mr. Stanchion, but we've got to have a record of everyone here in dispersal area 743.
I understand.
Did you go back to St. Louis?
Yes. The roads were crowded with people, some in automobiles and trucks, most of them walking, nearly all of them burned or bleeding.
Did you get into St. Louis?
No, the troops stopped me at the outskirts. The city was still blazing. The guards said the place was so radioactive no one could go in. I drove my car to a side road and headed. And that night went in on foot. The next afternoon, twilight, I found the place. The place where our house had been.
Uh-huh.
It was smashed and burned to the ground like all the rest of St. Louis. 5 atomic bombs hit the city. I could find no trace whatever of my family.
Perhaps 1/2 of the population of the United States were destroyed in the 2 days of war.
Is there anything else you want of me?
Yeah. How did you get out here?
I drove out. I wandered all over the country hoping to find a trace of my family. I got gasoline from abandoned automobiles, abandoned pump stations, anywhere I could find it.
You have any gasoline still in your tank?
About a pint.
Your car is now the property of this dispersal area. It will be used for the common good. There are only a few gallons of gasoline left here. We don't know when we can get more.
Yeah?
You will be assigned to a house with several other men. You will work along with all the others. You will share with all of us in this area food that we have.
The director assigned me to a house with 3 men.
Who does that director think he is, a dictator?
That was Mac from Omaha.
This place is going to be just what we make it, Stanton.
That was Harmon from New York.
They're not going to keep me here, law or no law.
And that was Kane from New Orleans. All able-bodied men worked cutting wood. The winter was coming. There was no fuel.
Last news we got over the radio was that we had annihilated the enemy airborne troops that had been sent to take us over.
We crippled the enemy with our retaliation bomb, and that's what we did.
Yeah, but they crippled us, too.
I couldn't believe it had happened.
We've sunk into a complete paralysis of production and communication, Stanton. There's no power. The dams and power stations have been smashed. The coal mines have been abandoned by the miners looking for food. Planes have been grounded by lack of gasoline. The railroad centers have been destroyed and abandoned, so there are no trains.
No trains have come through since the disaster?
No.
No supplies being brought in at all?
Where to be brought in from?
Yeah, the only place nearby that's got anything is 608, the dispersal area upstate. It was foolish of me not to stay there. And they're looking out for themselves.
They've got a group of scientists up there that's trying to work out some
Scientists. They're the guys we can thank for this whole mess. Science should be prohibited here and everywhere in the world.
We cut wood all day and hauled it into the area. It was fall. The cold winds were beginning to blow. At night, we went down to the mess hall for our food.
Beans, squash, and corn. Beans, squash, and corn. Is that all we're ever going to get?
That's all there is, Kane.
Yeah, I'll bet the director has meat.
Yeah.
Where would he get it?
Why doesn't he eat down here with the rest of us?
If we're going to live at all, we've got to live on what we've got until we can raise some more. There is no sugar, and when meat's brought into the area, all of us get some.
That's the way the talk went every day. No one talked about what happened to his people. But it came out little by little. Mac's parents, mother, father, and 2 sisters were hit in Omaha. Kane's wife and 2 kids died from radioactivity in New Orleans. Harmon's sister, the only relative he had, was killed by the atomic bomb that hit New York. Kane and Mac had drifted across the devastated country from one dispersal area to another until they got here to 743.
Well, I'm not going to stay here.
You know it's against the regulations to leave, Kane.
Who made the regulations? The director. By what right does he make the laws for me?
After supper, the director came down to the mess hall.
Our only hope of survival is to work together, to share what we have. Every person that can work must work. There will be no mercy for malingerers. Winter is coming. It's going to be cold. We've got to have fuel, and we've got to get it now. Those who do not work will not eat. No one can leave this area without my authorization. And until someone among you can run this area better than I can, I'll run it.
That night at the house, Harmon and I talked late. There was no light, except for the candle we'd made.
How can we preserve what we know for the generations to come, Stanton? That's what worries me.
I don't know.
Most of the libraries and the universities are gone.
But even if they weren't, most of the people who know and understand what's in the books are dead.
I wonder if I could get every person here in 743 to write down everything he knows.
Well?
I know it sounds impossible, Stanton, but if we don't, everything we know or have learned, all the experience we've had, might die with us.
I know.
What we ought to do is organize some kind of school here in 743 as fast as we can. At least you and I, all of us who are here now, saw civilization and culture. The coming generation will never have seen it at all.
We talked until the candle gutted out. We talked for an hour more in the dark.
Where are Kane and Mac?
Kane and Mac didn't come in.
Bet they've run away.
I lay there in the dark thinking about them almost until dawn. Then I fell asleep.
Police, open the door. Police, open the door.
Harmon went to the door.
Yes? Emery Kane here. Why, Stanchion, is Kane here?
Kane? Well, I don't know.
I'll have to search the place.
They searched the house.
Kane must have tried to leave in the dark last night with McAllister. We caught McAllister. He's in jail right now, waiting to be taken before the director.
We all went to work in the woodlots as usual that day. At night, word was passed that Mac was going to be brought before the director.
Wait a minute. By what right do you say that I can't leave here? What right do you have to send your men out to drag me back here and lock me up? Who appointed you director? Who elected you? I was appointed manager of this dispersal area by the government before the disaster. And I will stay on the job until the government relieves me. What government? There's no government left. The government ordered before the disaster that once a man is registered in the dispersal area, he must stay there until the emergency is over. You left without permission, McAllister, and it is my judgment that you must surrender your liberty for a period of 30 days. You will be locked up. Then you will be put on probation. If there's still a government, I have my civil rights. Come on, let go of me. Let go.
On Sundays, we gathered to listen to Harmon, who'd been a resettlement worker in New York before the Atomic War.
What we must do is return to spiritual values. Because we and all the other people neglected them, the land we loved and all the world we knew was devastated. Now we must do all possible to save what is left. All of us face the great responsibility of putting our lives together.
After Mac had served his time, he came back to work.
This is like being in a prison camp.
Where would you go if you left here, Mac?
Oh, at least I could get out of this cold.
That's why we've got to gather all the firewood we can now.
We're never going to be able to get enough to last us all winter. And where'll we be with these clothes?
They've been talking about making clothes. As soon as we can get something to make them out of.
Yeah, what's going to happen to us before we get them? And how about shoes? Look at mine.
We're going to have to make our shoes, too.
With what?
What we wondered about most was whether we'd have enough food to see us through the winter. The beans and corn and squash were rationed. Some grain was coming in by wagon from the farmers south and west of the area. But there was nothing we could pay with. Money was worthless. We bargained away what little we had in belongings, or furniture, extra clothes. All the gasoline for the cars was gone. One night, after work, the word was passed to come down to the hall. Our mechanics had built a wind motor and kept the batteries of the radio there charged. But for a long time now, no regular broadcast had come in. Only weak, unintelligible signals from small, faraway stations. Now, for the first time, a nearby station came in clearly.
No one knows for sure how much of it's true because all we can do is relay the reports that we've heard through our radio pickups. This morning we heard a report from Area 226 that they'd picked up. It said that Army scouts have now explored Washington, D.C. It was so radioactive that it could not be ended for several months. The Capitol was found destroyed, and so were most of the big government buildings. There's been nobody to clean up the rubble, so grass and weeds are beginning to grow everywhere. A small group of men who were in the government at the time of the disaster set themselves up at Bethesda near Washington as the legal head of the government of the United States. We heard something about Chicago, too. There isn't a living being in the city, but there are several 100,000 corpses all over the city, rotting in the rubble. Well, I guess that's about all the information we can give you at this time. Signing off now.
Everybody hung around and talked after the broadcast. It was the first radio most of us had heard since the disaster.
Washington, grown up with weeds.
Be a long time before there's any kind of real government there.
But that radio shows that we're making some progress.
Yeah. What are they going to do when some of the parts they're using wear out and they've got to have new ones?
I don't know. But that fact alone should make you see that we've got to do everything that we can while we're still living to make a new start with civilization. If we don't,
Our children and our grandchildren may go back to a dark age.
Okay, but how are we going to get through this winter without food?
We still have food.
But not enough to last through the winter. I know that if I got out of here, that I could rustle up enough food for myself somehow.
608 has promised to send us some food when their end of the railroad is repaired.
When the railroad is repaired? How do we know they're trying to repair it at all?
We've got to take their word for it. And we've got to stay here and work until they send it, or until we can grow some ourselves.
We'll never get through the winter.
We worked gathering wood every day. Harmon and I worked on a wagon, hauling it into town.
Every time I hear that fellow talking on the radio from 608, I find myself yearning for some music. You know, the way it used to be.
There probably isn't any available in 608.
Yeah, probably no records of any kind. Or maybe they haven't any equipment to play records.
No.
They never appreciated what we had, did we, Stanchion?
I guess not. But maybe they'll play some music when they come on tonight.
I don't know if I'll go down. I don't feel very well.
After supper, Harmon and I went down to the hall.
One report that came in said that they're trying to get some small factories going, but they're not having much luck. There's no way of getting materials or rounding up workers. That's the way it is here in 608, too. Another reason here is the sickness. There's a lot of it. And yesterday we got some foreign news through the station in Maryland. It said that a Congress of Eastern nations has proclaimed a world government and declared the United States a protectorate. Some say that we won't acknowledge a government not of our own choosing. But if they have ships and men to send over here, we're wondering how we can prevent them from taking us over. Oh, I guess it's all this time. Signing off.
Then we don't have an independent country anymore.
Nope, not anymore.
What right have they to order us around?
Nations that were weaker than we were before the war are now stronger, if they weren't in the war.
Let's go back to the house.
Why should we be a protectorate?
Please, let's get back to the house. I don't feel well.
Mac was in a talkative mood. Harmon went to bed. He said he had a headache and chills. Mac kicked about the food. The rations had been cut. He lay there in the dark talking, and finally I went to sleep listening to him. Next morning, Mac and I got up to go to work. Harmon didn't get up.
I'll be all right. You go ahead.
Oh, here. I'll put my blankets on you.
No, you don't know what I've got. You'll need them.
Well, use them anyway.
Yeah.
I put my blankets over him, and Mac and I went to work. About half the workers didn't show up.
Everybody's sick.
I wonder what it is.
Remember that guy on the radio mentioned the sickness up in 608?
Yeah. I reported Harmon's illness. When we got back at night, the medic was there, a fellow that had some experience around hospitals.
You've got influenza, Harmon.
Oh? You think it's the same thing they've got up in 608?
Maybe.
The medic told us how to keep Harmon warm, and then he told me something I hadn't thought of.
There's no medicine. And there probably won't be any of the kind we had before the war for years.
Isn't there anything we can do for him?
Heaven help us if anyone needs surgery.
Well, least thing we can do is keep him warm. He can use my blankets, too.
That night, down to the mess hall before we ate, the director made an announcement.
Now the winter is setting in. We've taken all possible measures to provide for ourselves during the cold months ahead. If we cut down on our rations, perhaps we can make it. This we will do, starting with this meal. Seats, everyone.
What about that food that 608 was going to send us?
I don't know.
You know what I think? I think they're not going to send us a thing. They're going to keep everything they got.
Well?
Figure it out. They ain't friends of ours. They're looking out for themselves. It's like we were different tribes with not enough for both of us.
We brought food for Harmon. He was worse. He didn't eat any of it. He wanted to talk.
Lying here alone, I've been thinking, Stanchion. I want you to help me. When I get better, we've got to organize some kind of school here.
We can teach in the houses or down to the hall.
That's right.
We've got to find some way of imparting to the small kids and to the grown-ups, too, all we know. And all that's been passed on to us by the generations that went before. Don't you think so?
Yes, sir. Oh, yes, I do. Harmon.
Everybody's got to exchange knowledge. We've got a dozen school teachers here, and engineers and doctors, and well, even the simplest man in this area can teach us something.
Yes, I know, Harmon.
We don't know how long we're going to be stuck here. How long before there'll be any kind of communications or railroads or telephones or telegraphs. Next spring we can start planting crops if we can get some seed. But right now, during this winter, we've got to get started. Teaching everything. Right out of our memory. History, geography, arithmetic, everything.
Yes, Harmon. But you'd better rest now.
Oh, I'm all right.
I know. But let's talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah, let's. By all means, let's.
But go to bed.
You see, it's so important, Stanch, to preserve what we have.
Listen to that wind.
The next morning was frosty.
That snow before night. I'm still chilled from not having any covers last night. And almost no food today. I'd like to go down to those railroad tracks and walk until I got to 608. I know they got food there.
You'd starve to death before you got there, Mac. You wouldn't find even a crumb of food on the way. The twilight came early. Before dark, snow began to fall. We went directly from work to supper.
How do you think we're going to live on this?
McAllister, half the population of this farm area is sick. We can't starve them.
Mac grumbled, but he saved some of his beans for Harmon.
Let's listen to the broadcast before we go back.
We went down to the hall.
We got our first snow here in 608 today. We've all gone on short rations. They're still working on the railroad, but they haven't got anything to do the repairing with. We heard some news from abroad. India and China are probably going to be the centers of civilization for the next century. India and China weren't in the war, so they weren't smashed up like we were. And neither was Japan. Japan has declared herself free from the conditions that we imposed on it after the last war. Well, that's about all this time. Signing off.
We hurried back to Harmon with the food.
Sometimes it scares me, Stanchion, to realize how our country's smashed. What do you think about that stuff about China and India and Japan?
Well, they weren't destroyed as we were.
No.
We went into the house with the food for Harmon. He was dead. Harmon was one of the first to go. About half the people in the area came down with sickness.
Oh, it's so hopeless. There's almost nothing we can do for them. No medicine.
No. And how's a man going to fight sickness on these kind of rations?
The winter settled down on us, snow and cold. We all helped with the burials. There were no more get-togethers at the hall. Mac and I were alone in the house now. We worked together during the day, went to the mess hall together. At night, we talked in the dark.
How many do you think have died in the area?
I don't know, Mac.
Well, most of them that got it died. 7,000 or 8,000, maybe.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
That'll mean more food for the rest of us.
He said it without malice. And as he said it, I looked at him. I compared him with how he looked the first time I saw him here months ago. He was thin and haggard. His whiskers and hair was shaggy. His clothes tattered. I knew that I must look the same. Harmon was gone. Men like Harmon had seen before the atomic war what must be done to prevent war, but they had not been able to prevail. A lot of them were killed the day the atomic bombs started falling, and many have died since. I wondered what men like Mac and I could do.
What do I know? I don't know nothing.
You know a lot, Mac. A lot that would be valuable to the young people growing up. And you should pass it on to them. I mean, what you do know.
Look, Stanchion, let's quit worrying about tomorrow. Let's worry about today. It's every man for himself. If I could have kept moving around, I'd be all right. But here I am, snowed in, out in the wilderness and starving.
Mac got one of Harmon's blankets, I got the other. Still, we were cold. More snow came. It was dead winter. The broadcast from 608 dropped off. Day after day, we waited for some word. Mac never went down to wait anymore. I could feel trouble was coming. Once in a while, something came over the radio.
From what we hear, some of the dispersal areas must have starved out. We don't hear anything from them anymore. The Army has taken over all the seed for growing crops. There's no news about the world government and its plan to make America and Europe its protectorates. Well, that's about all this time. Signing off.
The weeks passed. Mac didn't talk at all anymore. All we did was try to keep alive. Our rations went down next to nothing. I went to see the director.
We've got to believe that 608 has told us over the radio.
Yeah, but they haven't mentioned anything about food for weeks. Do you think they will help us, or is that a matter of...
There's no transportation station. The railroad's out of commission, and that's the only communication between here and there. If there were transportation, we could... What's that?
I don't know.
Wait a minute. I'll look out the window.
Well, what is it?
It's a mob coming here.
A mob? What are they?
McAllister's leading them.
McAllister?
What do they want?
We've come here as a committee to talk to you.
Yes?
Yes. You've run things here just like you wanted ever since the war, and we haven't had any say.
I'm the director of this area, and the government's backing me up.
What government? There isn't enough food in this area to last 2 weeks more. And then what are we going to do?
We're going to make it last until spring.
We're going to do nothing of the kind. We're going to take the food we got, and we're going to head up the tracks for 608. They've got food, and they're going to give some of it to us.
We're going to do nothing of the kind. We'd never get there.
Some of us would get there.
And I'm Mac. How could the women and children in this area make a walk of that kind? How could most of us? We'd die of exposure and sickness and starvation before we ever got there.
We didn't come here to talk, Stanton. We came here to tell this man who thinks he's our boss what we're going to do. All right, fellas, grab him. Come on.
Wait a minute.
McAllister. Get out of the way, Stanton. From now on, this committee's going to give the orders. And if you and this man don't want to go along with us, you can stay here. But we're taking the food.
You take your hands off me.
Hey, what's that? What? That sound. Listen.
It's a train whistle. It's a locomotive whistle.
We all rushed down to the tracks. We stood there with tears in our eyes as the train came in. It brought food, but not from 608. For 608 had no more food than we. It brought seed, so that in a few weeks we could start our planting. The crops are in now, and everyone in this area is working on them. One train comes in about every 2 weeks. And they bring us not only supplies, but information about what's happening in the rest of the country. In 2 or even 3 years, there'll be materials for homes. By the same time, some of the water power stations will be restored, and industrial electricity will become available again in some areas. Coal mining is being resumed. 1/3 of the normal production may be reached by next year. The world government has asked us to join it as an autonomous unit. We probably will have no choice but to join. I hope before I die that I can once more visit a center of civilization, such as we had here before we were devastated by the atomic war.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have just heard J. Carroll Nash, starring in the 7th program in NBC's series, The Fifth Horseman. Written and directed by Arnold Marquis. Next week at this same time over most of these stations, the National Broadcasting Company will present the last program in this series titled Memo to Mankind. One man's reaction to the problem of what to do about the control of atomic energy. J. Carroll Nash appeared tonight through the courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of the Technicolor production Holiday in Mexico. The music for The Fifth Horseman is composed and conducted by Thomas Peluso. The Fifth Horseman came to you from Hollywood. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Now, Autolite and its 60,000 dealers and service stations present Suspense.
Tonight, Autolite brings you Mr. Ralph Edwards in Ghost Hunt, a suspense play produced and directed by Anton M. Leader.
Friends, replace worn-out narrow-gap spark plugs with a set of those new wide-gap Autolite resistor spark plugs. Your motor will idle smoother, give better performance on leaner gas mixtures, actually save gas. These winning benefits are all made possible by a newly developed Autolite 10,000 ohm resistor, built right into every Autolite resistor spark plug, making practical a wider spark gap setting, and that's what does the trick. What's more, Autolite resistor spark plugs with this exclusive Autolite resistor have greatly increased electrode life and cut down on radio and television interference. So, folks, see your Autolite dealer and have him replace old, worn-out, narrow-gap spark plugs with a set of the new Autolite resistor spark plugs. Remember, you're always right with Autolite.
And also remember, the Autolite Suspense Show is now on television.
Every Tuesday night in many parts of the country.
And now, Autolite presents Ralph Edwards in a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Yeah, didn't that leave you high, huh? Left me feeling treetop tall. That was Louis Armstrong's I Can't Give You Anything But Love. And that's all we have time for on the Hot and Mellow Hour tonight. Yes, this is Smiley Smith, your favorite disc jockey. I hope, hooting the Hot and Mellow Hour home for this evening. I'll be back again tomorrow night, minus the music, but with a little surprise for you. Tomorrow night, Friday night, as you know, is stunt night here at station WXP, and have I got a stunt for you. Last week, if you remember, I planted my wire recorder in the steam room at a lady's Turkish bath and let you listen in on the playback, remember? Well, tonight, as soon as I leave the studio, do you know where I'm going? Your friend Smiley is going to spend the night in a haunted house on a spook hunt. You heard me, a spook hunt in a haunted house. I'm bringing my little old wire recorder along with me, and if you tune in tomorrow evening at this time, you'll learn what it's like to spend a night in a haunted house. Ain't that something? Yeah, a real haunted house. No kidding. 4 people are known to have committed suicide there. So tune in tomorrow night and share a real thrill with your old pal Smiley. I must be crazy, Smith. Good night.
Care for a cigar, Mr. Thorpe? I got some cigars in the dash there.
No.
Well, no reason for you to carry a chip on your shoulder, Mr. Thorpe.
Oh, really? Well, I don't like this fool stunt.
Well, I don't see it as a fool stunt at all. I really don't. I think it's the only way you're going to unload this house. Ordinary selling methods won't work in a case like this. Now, don't forget the reputation saddling this house. 4 suicides since 1939. You know what people call it. The death trap.
Yeah. It's a lot of nonsense.
Sure, but try to convince people of that. Anyway, when this disc jockey offered me this chance to kill all the rumors about the about the property, I just naturally jumped and took him up at it, especially since it don't cost a cent.
You sure about that? I'm not liable for a penny.
Not a cent. We're doing him a favor letting him use the place, he said. Thanked me for the chance last night when I drove him out here. So one hand washes the other, as the feller says. He got a chance to pull off a stunt, and the wire recording will prove the people the property's A number one, and we increase the chance of selling the place.
Well, as long as it doesn't cost me anything.
Not a thing. He's using his own recorder, and I'm paying for the rental of a couple of walkie-talkies he hooked up to it.
Well, what about this Reed? Does he charge anything?
He comes gratis, too. Dr. Reed is a psychic investigator. Belongs to a couple of societies that do nothing but hunt ghosts. He showed me articles he's written about it in their magazine. Well, here's the house. Yeah, looks real nice in the sunshine, don't it? Yeah, man, smell that sea breeze.
You don't have to sell me. Well, let them know we're here.
Yeah, probably asleep up all night and everything.
Why don't they come out? Do you think they've gone?
Well, I told them last night I'd pick them up around 11. Smith! Smith! Hey, Smiley! Dr. Reed! Yeah, fast asleep, I guess. We better go in and wake them up.
Of course, they may have taken the bus back to town.
No. It's a 2-mile hike to the main highway. Smith! Hey, Smiley. Where are you? Wake up.
You don't suppose, do you?
Oh, no. Smith. Dr. Reed.
What's that clicking noise from in there?
Well, it's his wire recorder. He left it running. These machines cost a lot of money. Doesn't he care if he uses up his batteries?
Well, where is he, and where's this Reed?
Maybe they're upstairs. Smith? Hey, anybody home?
They must have walked to the highway and taken the bus.
Well, he wouldn't have left his machine.
Well, where are they, then? Where are they?
Oh, now, don't get excited, Mr. Thorpe.
Don't tell me not to get excited. If something's happened to them in my house, I'm liable.
Well, you try this side. I'll try that one.
All right.
Smith. Hey, Smiley.
Smith. Oh. McDonald, come here.
Well, what it... Oh, no. Reed. Dr. Reed. No, don't touch him, Mr. Thorpe. You'll get your hands off. Look.
Blood. Is he dead?
I can still feel his pulse. We better get him to hospital fast. Care for a cigar, Mr. Thorpe?
No, thanks.
Well, why not try to relax? The nurse said Reed would be all right as soon as he's had a blood transfusion.
You told the radio station to be sure and call us as soon as they had any word about Smith?
Yes, I told them. Why don't you sit down?
No, I'm all at 6s and 7s. What do you suppose happened out there last night?
We're going to know in just a second, just as soon as I can get this recorder set up.
You don't suppose Smith and Reed got into a fight, do you?
Yeah, there. Huh? A fight? I don't know.
Well, what's wrong? Won't it work?
Yeah, it works. Take it easy.
1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
There.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. All set, Dr. Reed? Mr. McDonald, eh? Okay, here we go. This is Smiley Smith speaking. Smiley Smith, the ghost hunter. I don't know whether to hope this will turn out to be a success for the sake of the program or a failure for my own sake. Anyway, all the preparations have been made now, and it's up to the spooks. I better tell you where we are. Right now, we're standing on the lawn of a house about 12 miles above Malibu Beach. The ocean is 100 feet away, straight down. The house is perched on a cliff, and there's a sheer drop of about 100 feet right into the old Pacific. Maybe you can hear the surf pounding. I'll turn up the volume. Hear it? Now, I'm going to have you meet two gentlemen who are here with me. Incidentally, we're the only people around for miles and miles. First, I'd like you to meet Dr. Clarence Reed of the British and American Psychical Research Guilds. Dr. Reed is a famous investigator of psychic phenomena, and I'm very honored to be associated with him on this ghost hunt. He's smiling in an embarrassed sort of way.
You're much too kind, Mr. Smith.
Dr. Reed has conducted experiments in this field with such great believers in spiritualism as Oliver Lodge and Arthur Conan Doyle. He looks a bit like Santa Claus. He's short and stocky. You don't object, do you, Dr. Reed?
No, indeed.
And he has a magnificent white beard, a truly great beaver. Dr. Reed is so enthusiastic about ghost hunting that he got out of a sick bed this evening to be with us.
Excuse me. My lungs. Mm-hmm. I was gassed in the First World War.
Yeah. Anyway, Dr. Reed and I are here on the lawn looking at the house. Can't see much. It's around, 11 p.m. now. Seems to be a rambling sort of house, 2 stories high. Since it was built, there have been 4 suicides here. Is that right?
That's right.
Now, into the mic, please.
Oh, yeah. 4 suicides since 1939.
I better tell them who you are so they won't think you're a ghost. Standing with the doc and me is a real estate agent, Mr. Charles McDonald. He handles this property, and he can tell you a lot more about it than I can.
Well, the house was built by a man named Marcus, Toby Marcus, an orange grower. Built the house as a wedding present for his wife. A month after they moved in, she took her own life. On the day of her funeral, he committed suicide the same way. There have been 2 other cases since then, and
Did they all jump into the ocean?
Yeah, all 4 of them, right over there.
Well.
The last one was actually seen doing it. About 3 years ago. He was seen running like all get out the edge of the cliff, and he was shouting and laughing and yelling as though there was people at his side running right along with him.
You kidding?
No, it's fact. He was laughing and yelling and running, and when he got to the edge, right over there, he jumped and never came above water.
As good an argument against cold baths as ever I've heard.
Since then, people just refuse to live in this house. Silly, I call it. Anyway, if you and Dr. Reed find any sign of a spook, I'll advise the owner to pull the house down and rebuild. But if you don't find anything, I'm hoping this will convince folks that here's a real buy. Yeah, okay, Mr. Smith, you and the doctor are on your own. I'll be by in the morning to pick you up around 11.
Goodbye, Mr. McDonald. I hope there's something left for you to pick up in the morning. Well, it's almost pitch black, folks, and I guess Dr. Reed and I ought to begin. I don't believe in ghosts, never have, but what I say is this. If you're dead set on looking for them, this is a dandy place to do it. So long! Mr. McDonald just checked out. And then there were 2. Well, 3. Oh, my dog, yeah. Folks, I have my dog, Jeff, with me. He's a wire-haired terrier, 3 years of age, and he can talk. Yeah, say hello, Jeff. Come on, Jeff, say hello. Come on. Well, anyway, he's a wire-haired terrier, and he's 3 years old. Shall we go inside now, Dr. Reed?
I was about to suggest it.
Now, how do we hunt ghosts, Doctor? How do we do it, huh?
Well, we don't really hunt them. If there should be any in the house, they will come to us.
How cozy.
And please, not ghosts. Do not refer to them as ghosts. We know them as apparitions.
Now, remember, I've no desire to hurt their feelings. Where ghosts are concerned, I say live and let live. Well, we've opened the front door now. Maybe you heard the hinge squeak a little. Now we're standing here looking in. Can't see much. Smells sort of musty and damp. What's the matter, Jeff? What's the matter, boy? Jeff. Oh, come on now, come on. My dog seems to object to entering this house. He has all 4 feet braced, and he's straining against the leash.
Perhaps he senses something we don't.
Like apparitions, maybe?
Perhaps. It's not unusual. Animals lack the veneer of sophistication we humans possess, and are more sensitive to such emanations.
Yeah, come on, Jeff. Now, stop this nonsense. He probably smells a mouse or rat or something. Come on, Jeff. We're going in whether you like it or not. Well, there's a short entrance hall, and over there at the end of it is a flight of stairs leading to the 2nd floor. Jeff! And over here at the left is what seems to be a large reception room. We're entering this large room now. There are windows over there, French windows, and through them I can see the ocean. The electricity hasn't been turned on, so all I have to see by is a flashlight. Not a very powerful one at that. Dr. Reed is now adjusting his walkie-talkie. It's hooked up to my recorder so that he can cut in while he's hunting and tell us what he's found. Here's a few words from Doc before he sets forth on his investigation through the house.
Ladies and gentlemen, excuse me. Mr. Smith has introduced me as a ghost hunter. He spoke, I think, in a spirit of skepticism and levity. I'd like to assure you all that my purposes here are serious. I have spent my entire life seeking reliable proof of the appearances of apparitions.
Have you ever seen any? Ever?
I have seen phenomena which lead me to believe in the possibility of their existence, although I have never seen any. I account myself sensitive to the evidence of their existence. This house, for example, affects me profoundly. It doesn't seem to affect you in the same way.
I'm not too happy about all this, if that's what you mean.
You are not psychic, and therefore not sensitive to these matters as I am. I imagine the question in the minds of those of you listening to us is, shall we find apparitions? I don't know. But I feel they are here and that they are evil. I sense danger. I shall soon know.
Dr. Reed's leaving the room now to make a tour of the house. First thing I'm going to do is open the windows and let some fresh air in. It feels better already. Cooler anyway. I know that. What was a bat? A bat just flew into the room. I think it's a bat, not a bird. I didn't actually see it. Just its shadow as it fanned my face. There it is again. It touched me as it passed. Jeff, come back here. Jeff, you fool dog, come back here. Dr. Reed. Dr. Reed. Dr. Reed!
For suspense, Autolite is bringing you Mr. Ralph Edwards in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Harlow, snap out of it.
Huh? I'm reading a letter about the new wide-gap Autolite resistor spark plugs, Hap.
Oh?
It's from Mrs. Clark Terry right here in Hollywood. She says, our 1948 station wagon has given constant trouble. Finally, the garage man said all the difficulty was spark plugs, and he installed a set of Autolite resistor spark plugs. Now the car runs beautifully. The very first time my husband has been really pleased.
Well, smart garage man.
Smart people to take his advice. Hap, you know, as more and more people learn about wide-gap Autolite resistor spark plugs and how they make an engine idle smoother, give better performance on leaner gas mixtures, actually save on gas, why then more people will replace old, worn-out, narrow-gap spark plugs with sensational new wide-gap Autolite resistor spark plugs.
Any more letters like that, Harlow?
Plenty, Hap, plenty. Why, here's another one from New York City.
Read it to me later, Harlow. We haven't time because here's suspense.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Ralph Edwards as Smiley Smith in Ghost Hunt, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Jeff, come back here. Jeff, you fool dog, come back here. Dr. Reed. Dr. Reed. Dr. Reed!
Reed speaking. What is it, Smith?
Jeff has run off. My dog, he jumped through the window and ran off.
Oh, so? I told you he sensed something about this house, didn't I?
Yeah, you want to come and see if you can determine what it was exactly that set him off?
Soon. I am making my way slowly up the stairs toward the second floor now. I'm halfway up. I'll be down with you soon.
Folks, my dog's run away. You probably heard him howling. He jumped through the window and took off. Never did anything like that before. Frightened by the bat, I guess. Personally, alone here in this big room, I can understand how he must have felt. This isn't a cheerful spot by any means. I may not be psychic, but I sure have a feeling this house doesn't want us here.
Read again. Excuse me. I have something of great interest to report. I'm now standing in an alcove on the second floor trying to recover my breath. As I reached the head of the stairs, I felt what I think is a definite psychic manifestation. I felt suddenly as though I had been punched in the solar plexus. That's the only way I can describe it. At the same time, I began to perspire. My head is still swimming slightly, and I have difficulty in swallowing. My pulse rate is around 110 in a minute. The sense of evil is very strong. I feel very, what shall I say, profoundly depressed.
Do you want me up there?
No, I prefer to remain up here alone. The presence of a disbeliever such as you might interfere with my investigation.
Folks, I'd like you to get a picture of what it's like here. It's very quiet, for one thing. I've never been in such a quiet place. And it's pretty dark. No light except my flashlight. Tell you what, you go now and douse all the lights you have on. Go ahead, put out the lights, and that'll give you a clearer feeling of how it is here with me. Go ahead, put out the lights. Hey, did you hear that? The real estate agent told me I'd probably hear rats and mice in the walls. Well, I can certainly hear them now. Even you can hear them, I think. It's as though...
Dr. Reed speaking. I've been working my way toward the front room, the one directly above the one in which Mr. Smith is now. The vibrations have become stronger and more pronounced as I approach it. I think I am on the verge of an important discovery.
Important discovery. Did you get that? Now I can hear Dr. Reed moving about in the room above. I don't suppose you can. Have a try anyway, huh? Hear him? I hope he finishes his investigation soon, because, quite frankly, I'd like to get out of here. I can well imagine people becoming unhinged in this place. Right now, I find myself pretty jumpy. Not being very brave, am I? It's being alone in this room down here that does it. This darned old house. It's a very, the atmosphere. It's so very...
I wish only to make this hurried report before continuing with the investigation in this room. I have carefully sounded out all the parts in this room, and the emanations are most strong from what appears to be a closet, before which I am now standing. As soon as I open the door to this closet, I will have, I think, a thing of great interest to communicate. I find no key to the lock, and so I will attempt to remove the hinges with my penknife, and I will tell you what I find when I open it.
I'll tell you what it would cost to get me to open that door. In the basement at Fort... There's that bat again. It seems to like me the way it keeps... Each time it passes, it touches my face or my neck with its wings. Smelly things, bats. I don't suppose they bathe very often, if at all. I wonder how... Get away, you bat! That bat'll be the death of me. That's like a jingle, isn't it? Bat'll be the death of me, the death of me, the death of me, bat'll be the death of me. It isn't far from London. No, that isn't the way it goes. It's come down to Q in lilac time, in lilac time, in lilac time. Come down to Q in lilac time. It isn't far. I haven't thought of that since I was a kid in grammar school. Gee, I had a lonely childhood, and you come right down to it. That's my affair, isn't it? Yes, it is. It certainly is.
I have succeeded in removing the hinges to the door, and I find inside it is not a closet, but much larger. It is, I think, a dressing room. I have not yet been inside, but I am about to enter.
What was I talking about? Bats. Well, the bat flying back and forth in this room... Did you hear that? Did you hear it? Dr. Reed must have knocked something over in the dressing room. A chair, huh? A chair, yeah, a heavy chair by the sound of it. The chair, or whatever it was, must have fallen right over my head. That's the way it sounded. I can see a small stain forming right on the ceiling, right over my head. Something ran across my foot just then. A rat, I think it was. I've always hated rats. Most people do, of course. That stain up there bothers me. It's gotten so big so soon. I think I'll take a chance and bother Reed and ask him what it is. Dr. Reed. Reed, can you hear me? Are you all right? Hello? Well, he didn't answer. I think he's just a little bit deaf. Think so. What do you suppose he's found, huh? I'm afraid this is rather dull for you listeners. I'm not finding it so, of course. There. I heard him cough. Did you hear that cough? Hope he's all right. He got out of a sick bed to come here this evening, you know. He was gassed in the First World War, and this place is beginning to get on my nerves a wee bit. Just a teensy-weensy bit.
Reed speaking.
Hello? He switched off. That's the bad cough he's got. I feel so lonely. Been alone so much in my life. Not so much now, of course, but when I was younger, I was alone so much of the time. You know, struggling to get ahead, living in a hall bedroom, wondering where my next meal was coming from. I get the blues just remembering it. Seem sad, young people having to spend so much time alone. Sad for old people, too, of course. I'm saying of course a lot. Of course I am. Hey, that stain on the ceiling, it's grown amazingly. It's actually beginning to drip. Form bubbles. They'll start dropping soon. Colored bubbles, they seem to be. Odd-shaped stain, like a body lying on its back with its arms stretched out. It's cheerful. Oh. I'll certainly advise Mr. McDonald to have this place pulled down. I'll go upstairs in a minute or two to see how Dr. Reed's making out. You know, listeners, I really believe I go completely crazy if I had to stay here much longer. Wears you down. That's exactly what it does. It wears you down. It's so close and musty in here. I feel sort of trapped. Don't know why I said that. That's what they call this place, you know, the death trap. There, what did I tell you? That stain started to drip drops. Drip drop, drip drop, drip drop, drip. I'll catch the next one with my hand. Let's... Reed! Dr. Reed! I'm going upstairs now, listeners. I'm afraid something has happened to Dr. Reed. I'm not kidding now. I mean, this is on the level. Which room could it be now? Right? Left? No, right. This is it, I think. Evening, gentlemen. And madam? I'm so glad to see you. I was just aching to see somebody. Anybody. I've been so lonely down there. What have you done with the doctor, huh? I know he's been hurt. See the color of the bubble on my hand? What have you done with him? Make way, please, gentlemen. Make way. Well, this isn't the funniest darn thing. This can't be Dr. Reed lying here. He didn't have a red beard. Now, don't crowd me, gentlemen. Don't crowd me, please. Huh? You want me to go where with you? You want me to do what? Speak up, gentlemen. To the cliffs. Down to the cliffs? You mean right now? Well, all right, if you'll come with me. I don't want to be alone anymore. You will come with me? All of you? All four of you? You too, ma'am? Oh, good. Come on, then. To the cliffs. To the cliffs. To the cliffs. To the...
He jumped over the cliff. He jumped over the cliff. MacDonald, he jumped over...
Mr. MacDonald, Mr. Thorpe, you may come in to see Dr. Reed now.
What? Uh-huh.
Dr. Reed is conscious. You may see him now.
Is he able to talk?
Just for a few minutes. In here.
Come in. Come in, gentlemen.
How are you, Dr. Reed?
We've been waiting to see you.
Yes, and I must apologize, gentlemen. I had a most unfortunate accident. Hemorrhage.
Hemorrhage?
Yes. My lungs, you know. Now, gentlemen.
Hemorrhage? Dr. Reed, what happened in that house? What happened to Smith? We've just been listening to a playback of the recordings you made out there.
Smith? Well, isn't he with you?
We've just heard the recording, Dr. Reed. Smith jumped over the cliff. Into the ocean.
Oh, that poor boy.
Dr. Reed, will you please tell us what happened? From what we heard on the recording, there were ghosts in that house.
Ghosts? I didn't see any ghosts.
But Smith, what about him?
If he went over the cliff, it was fear that drove him over.
But,
gentlemen, I didn't see any ghosts. As for that unfortunate young man, who can say now what he saw or thought he saw?
Thank you, Ralph Edwards, for displaying your versatility by appearing as guest star on Suspense.
Say, Harlow, that Edwards does everything.
Hap, no does. Don't use that word on our Autolite show.
Oh, come now, Harlow. I can make you use that word, as you call it.
How?
Now, don't you say that Autolite resistor spark plugs make your car engine idle smoother?
Yes, but...
And your car gives better performance on leaner gas mixtures. Saves gas.
Sure does. I mean, does.
Aren't we devils?
Ralph, you tricked me. Well, anyhow, it does my heart good to tell people that Autolite resistor spark plugs are ignition engineered by Autolite, which makes more than 400 products for cars, trucks, airplanes, and boats in 28 plants from coast to coast. Autolite also makes complete electrical systems for many makes of America's finest cars. Batteries, spark plugs, generators, starting motors, spark plug wire, battery cable, coils, distributors. All ignition engineered to fit together perfectly, work together perfectly because they're a perfect team. The lifeline of your car. So, folks, don't accept electrical parts that are supposed to be as good. Remember, you're right with Autolite.
And now here again is Ralph Edwards.
I want to thank Tony Leader and his great cast of actors for helping to make my appearance on Suspense a very pleasant consequence. Like all of you, I'm a great Suspense fan, and I'm looking forward to next week when radio's outstanding theater of thrills brings you Joseph Cotton in The Day I Died, another gripping study in
Suspense.
Tonight's suspense play was adapted for radio by Walter Newman from an original story by H.R. Wakefield with music composed by Lucien Morawek and conducted by Lud Bluskin. The entire production was under the direction of Anton M. Leader. Make it a point to listen next Thursday to Suspense, radio's outstanding theater of thrills. Remember, next Thursday, same time, hear Joseph Cotton in The Day I Died.
You can buy Autolite resistor spark plugs, Autolite stay-full batteries, Autolite electrical parts at your neighborhood Autolite dealers. Switch to Autolite. Good night.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Well, Molly, we got it done. The worst blizzard in Wistful Vista's history is supposed to hit tonight, and we're ready for it. Give me the final countdown on the canned goods so I can set up a rationing system in case we're snowed in, will you?
Well, I added all of the things you bought today with the supplies we already had in the fruit closet.
Good.
And even so, it only gives us 12 bottles of horseradish, 8 bottles of ketchup, a 5-pound sack of poultry seasoning, 9 cans of cat food, and 1 jar of India relish.
Okay. It's good to know where we stand. I foresee a serious shortage of India relish. And from now till the end of the present emergency, nobody gets any without my written permission. Is that clear?
Oh, McGee, don't be so dramatic. Neither one of us ever eats India relish.
Molly, I am not being dramatic. Human lives may hang in the balance, namely ours. You don't know how tough things can get if you're snowed in for weeks at a time. Now, have we got plenty of candles to use when the electricity fails?
Yes. I hunted through the attic, and I found about 20.
Good. We'll use 10 of them for lighting and keep the other 10 in reserve to eat in case we run out of food.
Didn't say on the box what flavor they are.
When it's a matter of survival, don't worry about the flavor. Now, let's see. I've got my skis and my snowshoes out. We're pretty well fixed for blankets to handle shot cases. Yes, sir. No matter how you figure it, we're ready for the blizzard. And I'll bet no other household in town can make that statement.
Oh, I don't know about that. There's a family of Eskimos living someplace over near 14th and Oak. I imagine they're ready.
I doubt it. In all my years of battling blizzards, I never saw an Eskimo who was ready. They keep you waiting for 2 hours while they hitch up them dogs of theirs.
Well, I certainly hope we don't get as much snow as they're predicting. It would be terrible for people who had to get downtown to work.
They predicted 4 feet originally, but, of course, that's when they were saying it'd start about noon. It's almost 4 now, and the sky is still pretty clear.
Yes? I was just noticing what a beautiful sunshiny day it is.
Yep.
In fact, it almost seems too warm to snow.
Yeah. It was 44 on the thermometer by the window the last time I checked. But I imagine the cold front is starting to move in.
That usually happens before a big snow.
I was just going to tell you that usually happens for a big snow. Let's see how much the temperature's dropped so far. That's funny.
What is it?
52. Some freak of nature, I guess. But when it starts going down, it'll go down fast.
Say, where's the morning paper, dearie? I've been so busy helping you get ready for the blizzard that I haven't had a chance to read about it.
It's right there on the table by the big chair. Boy, I'll never forget the first glimpse I got of that headline. History-making blizzard on the way.
McGee.
I knew in a flash that quick thinking and quick action were called for. So I quick thought and I quick acted all over the place.
McGee.
It's times of disaster that separate the men from the boys. I'll tell you that, boy.
McGee, this paper with the headline about the blizzard is 3 years old.
Everybody stands around waiting for a leader like me to... What'd you say?
I said this paper with the blizzard story in it is 3 years old. Must have been the one you had those old photographs in that you mounted this morning. The forecast in today's paper is fair and warmer.
Yeah. Well, I just kind of did the whole thing, didn't I? Looks like it's going to warm up.